Another word, so this is page 9 of chapter 10. So another word for mean is average. Someone remind us, how do you calculate average? Portion. Right, so add up all these 5 people's height and then divide it by 5 people. So then you get the average height among them. Okay. What's another word for median? Another, James? Middle. Yeah, simply middle. So does that mean my median is 140? Yeah, so you have to arrange the numbers, that the height, put them from shortest to tallest, and then choose the middle one. So in this case, the middle guy is 155. Now, what if I add an extra person? Now I have 6 data. So who's the middle guy? Okay, refresh your memory, Parchan. Yeah, so the median is between this person and this person. So then you add up the 2 and divide it by 2, and then you get the median. Okay, so it's the average of the 2 middle numbers. Another word for mode, James? Most common. So in this case, the most common height is 155. So is this anything new? No, you learned it in grade 3. Okay, so let's just do a quick example together on page 10. So these are the minimum wage for the different province. How many province and territories do we have in Canada? 13. Good. Okay, so to calculate the mean, I'm gonna add all these and divide it by 13. All right, you can write this down. This is page 10. Yara, this is page 10. Okay. So to calculate the mean, I would add up all 13 numbers and then divide it by 13, and then I get 13.79. Is my average always within my range? Yes. Okay. If you get, for example, 179.31, then you know that, oh, I forgot to divide by 13. Okay. And if you get something like 23.79, then you also know that, oops, I probably type a number in one too many times. Okay. Okay, and then for the mode, what do I have to do? Mode, sorry, not mode, median. Right. Okay, so rearrange it all in order first, and then count from each side. Since there's 13 number, which number is gonna be the middle one? 7th, right? So if I count, so one lowest, counting from the lowest, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then the 7th one would be the 1350. Right? Because if there's 13 numbers, that means there's 6 on the lower end, 6 on the higher end. So the 7th number is the middle. Okay, and then as Sakuri said, mode means. And then in this case, looking at these data, which one comes up the most? Yeah, 1520. Okay, looking at these 3 right now, mean, median, and mode, which one seems to be the best representation for minimum wage in Canada? The mean, yeah, good. Yep, because there's a couple of them that has 1520. Yeah. Okay. So right now, the mean is a good representation. All right, the average, because all of these numbers seems to be somewhat close together. Now, but let's just suppose New Brunswick, they're introducing a new housing subsidy for all the people. So, which means the cost of living is a lot lower. Okay, and they decided to make minimum wage $6. Whew, okay, how will this affect the mean? So New Brunswick used to be 11.75 and now it's down to 6. Okay, it will lower, right? So it will lower the mean, right? Because your sum is lower. So then when you divide a lower sum, you get a lower average. So with this new data point, is the average still a good representation? Jeffrey, which one would be better then? Median, that's right. Just like in class, if somebody never comes to class, what's their mark? 0. And so if we include that in the class average, it's going to drop it down, right? But that's why instead we, on report cards, you see median. Yeah, that's why. Okay. So this $6, there's a name for this new data point. Jeffrey? Outlier. That's right. Okay. Some people were asking me this morning. I don't get what outlier means. And then I said, real life example is like you have a group of friends, but somebody doesn't belong to the group of friends, then they are the outlier. So in math, same idea. You have this data set and then this number that's out in the space. So that one will be considered an outlier. And then when we do box plot today, that's how we do math to figure out if a number is or is not an outlier. Okay. So far this is nothing new. Mean median mode. You guys did this in grade 3. So what is new? Box plot. Okay. Box plot. You are going to be asked to draw a box plot on the test, on the assignment, on the exam. Okay, I'm telling you. Remember yesterday I had that pep talk with you guys that I kept telling you guys that you need to know the name of the angles, okay, on the test, but then still people didn't pay attention in class and then they left it blank, and that was probably basically like 7 marks on the test. All right, I'm telling you now again, you will get a question like this on the test, on the final. So that's why I put a star. You will need to know how to draw a box plot. Okay, so if you care about your marks, you should pay attention now. Okay, so those phones should be away. Okay. So your very first step in drawing a box plot is you have to list them from smallest to greatest. Okay, so rearrange these from smallest to greatest. Step 2 is you want to find the median. Okay, so the median of this set, since there's 10 numbers, the median is going to be in between the 5th and the 6th numbers. So 29 plus 20 plus 33 divided by 2. That means my median is 31. Right? Another word for median is called the second quartile, so Q2. Okay. Now, since my median is between 29 and 33, I'm going to do median again, but on the first half of the data. So my first half of the data is 24, 27, 28, 28, and 29. I include the 29 because I didn't use it as a median, right? So between those 5 numbers, my median is 28. Okay, that's called my lower quartile, or Q1. Okay. So then my step 4 is gonna be the upper half. So between 33, 34, 34, 36, and 37, okay, my median for the upper half is 34. Okay, I can call it upper quartile or Q3. Okay. So again, you will see this question on the test, on the exam. Yeah. James, what did I just say? Mm-hmm. So what do you think? Should you stay for this? Yeah, I think so too. Okay. For a box plot, you need 5 numbers. I have the Q1, Q2, Q3 right now. Your other 2 numbers are your minimum and your maximum. So your minimum in this case is 24, and your maximum in this case is 37. So now I have my 5 number. Okay. So now we can actually draw it. When we draw a box plot, the very first thing that you should draw is a scale. Okay, you have to have a scale. I don't need a precise one. I don't need a ruler with millimeter, but I need some sort of scale. So in this case, I'm going by 2s. Okay, so just like a number line. You can't just put in any of these random numbers and put them side by side. Okay, you have to have a scale, otherwise all of them is going to look proportional. Okay, after you draw that scale, minimum 24, maximum 37. Okay, and then Q1, Q2, Q3, that's what makes up my box. And then I draw a box with a line connecting my minimum and maximum. Okay. When we say quartile, when I say the word quartile, what comes to mind? Quarters, right? And so that's the whole purpose of a box plot. It divides the data into quarters. Okay, so each of these sections is 25%. So basically, these data right here, this original set of data, it was the height of a ball that I bounced 10 times. So out of the 10 times, the 2.5, 25% of the time, the ball bounced between 24 to 28 inches tall. All right, 25% of the time, the ball bounced at 28 to 31 inches tall. 25% of the time, the ball bounced at 31 to 34 inches tall, and so forth. Okay, so for the first one right here, what percentage of the ball bounces are 28 inches or higher? 28 or higher? 75%. Good. 75% of the time, the ball bounces at 28 or higher. Right. So what about between the median and upper quartile? How many percent between the median and upper quartile? Sorry? Median and upper quartile. 25. Yeah. Okay. And then is 44 an outlier? Show using IQR. Okay, so 44 is not on the scale, is not in the picture, But does that automatically mean that it's an outlier? Oh, we have to use some math to find out. All right. So just like for example, if I said 38, would you say 38 is an outlier? No. Even though it's beyond the maximum, I won't say it's an outlier, right? So how far off can we be?
What would make it an outlier?
Yeah, so we're going to calculate that right now. Okay, so first off, let's talk about range. Okay, so range is just basically your maximum take away your minimum. Right? Which is what was maximum? 37. 37 minus 24. So your range is 13. Right? But then we have something called interquartile range. Interquartile range. Okay, and we use the letter IQR to represent interquartile range. Okay, and that's Q3 minus Q1. Okay. Okay. So Q3 minus Q1. Let me move this back up here. Okay. Q3 minus Q1, which is 34 minus 28, and you get 6. Okay. With this number, you have to pay attention to this part. It's part of the formula to calculate outlier. You have to use this and times it by 1.5. When you times it by 1.5, that's like 1.5. Why 1.5 is because that's kind of like the upper and lower boundary of what you would consider as an outlier. So 1.5 times 6, you get 9. So what you're going to do is the minimum minus 9 and the maximum plus 9 to get your upper and lower bound. So what was our minimum? Our minimum was 24. So 24 minus 9, you get 15. And then 37 plus 9, you get 46. Yeah. So those are your upper and lower bound now. So is 44 an outlier? No. So these are your lower bound and upper bound to consider if a new data point is an outlier or not. Okay. And so similarly, if I say the number 12, is that an outlier then?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Right? It's because it's below the lower bound.
Well, what if it's like exactly 46?
Then yeah, you would consider it. No, you would consider it part of your data. Okay. So let's say, like people score on a test, on a quiz that's out of okay, so that's not good. The numbers are too low. Okay. Oh, this one. Sorry. Yeah, so this one with the ball bouncing. So if you bounce a ball that is 15 inches high, you should still consider that bounce. But if you drop the ball and the bounce was only 10 inches high, then you won't consider that. Jeffrey? I did. Oh, you do it on the max and min. Yeah, you do it actually on the max and min, not on the Q1 plus Q3. Yeah. Okay. Let's try this one. Let's draw it from scratch now. Um, is the formula is the times 1.5. So Q3 minus Q1 and then times 1.5. Okay, so let's try this one right here. This example on page 12. Last example. Okay, so an outlet is selling these smartphones. Okay, so it looks like these are Androids. Okay, I want to construct a 50% box plot for this data. 50% box plot, whisker plot, they just means all the same thing. James? If you really need to, yes. Okay. So, Jared, what's my very first step? Okay, well, you just said goodbye to 7 marks on the exam. Okay, it's your choice if you want to be on your phone or be doing this math question in class. Aziza, what's your very first step? Lowest to highest. Good job. Okay. So rearrange it to lowest to highest. That's your very first step. Okay. Spencer, what's my second step? I didn't think you know either. So let's put away that phone. The median, right? Do we need the mean for box plot? No. Okay, so median, which is the middle. So that. If you take a look from both sides, median is between 700 and 730, which is 715. Good. Okay. What's another word for median? Or in this case, Q2, right? Okay. Third step. Okay. Do I count the 700? Yes. Okay, because I didn't use it. So yes, I do. Because my median was 715 and not 700. If it was 700, then I won't count it. So then between 500, 560, 635, 650, 690, and 700, my Q1 is between here, which is 642.5. Okay. So where is Q3? Mm-hmm. Between 800 and 875. Good. Alright, so add them, divide. I get that. Okay. I have the 3 numbers. What's my 4th and 5th number? What's my 4th and 5th? Yep, the min and max. Good. Alright.
That's what you mean over here.
Yeah.
So
on the test or exam, I am gonna ask you for the 5 numbers for your box plot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I thought you were asking, like, I thought from the min minus 9 and max, but I thought you were
Nope, that's interquartile range, that's IQR. Okay, and I know this is new to you guys. You guys never learned how to draw box plots. Okay. So what's the first thing I draw? Number line. Good. Okay, I don't need to start from 0. I don't need it to go to 2000. Okay, so I'm gonna, okay, 500, 600, 700, 800, 9, a downward. Okay. And then now I can do my, and when you draw it, you're actually drawing on top of it. You're not really drawing on the number line. Okay. And then my Q1 is 642. Q2 is 715. Q3 is 837. Okay. Do I see a box? No. Okay. So on the exam, if I ask for a box plot, I want to see a box. I've seen people draw me just a straight line. Yep. So then your box is around Q1 to Q3, and then you have a line going from the min to the max. Okay, that's how you draw the box plot. Okay.
How do you arrange your numbers?
How do I arrange the?
No, like how do you put the scale?
Oh, I just did go by 100.
You get the pen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Part B says, is 1,100 overpriced? AKA, what am I asking? Is it an outlier? So do I just, if I just said yes or no, will I get marks? What do I have to do? Using the IQR. That's right. Okay. So IQR, what's the formula again?
Range equals max minus min.
Okay.
I thought it was the max minus the range.
Yeah. Q3 minus Q1, which is 837.5. Take away 642.5. Okay. Which is, let me look at my answers. 195. So does that mean I just do 195 plus 999? Yes. Don't forget, times it by 1.5. Okay, if you don't, you miss the step. One more. 292.5. That's your plus or minus from the max min. Okay, so max min. So you plus or minus your max min by the 292.5. So what's your lower bound and what's your upper bound then?
Upper bound is 1,295.
Good.
Lower bound is,
Whoops. Let me fix this up. 1.5. And then the other one was 500 minus 292.5. 207.5. Okay, so that means the Samsung phone that's 1,100, is that an outlier? No. What about if iPhone 15, that's 1,500?
yeah.
Yes. What about a dummy phone? That's worth $100. It's outlier, right? What about old flip phone that is $210? It's not an outlier, and you would consider that as part of your data set. Okay, so So the main purpose of box plot is one, to show you to divide up the data into 25%. Okay, put it in groups of 4. And 2 is to help you consider whether a number is an outlier or is not an outlier. If it is an outlier, you don't consider it in your calculation. You don't consider it when you present data to your clients and so forth. But then if it's low, but it's still within the range, then you will still consider it. Okay, so as I said, I know that mean, median, and mode is easy. What's the new part? The new part is the box plot, which you guys need to know. So for homework, page 12 to page 15. Okay, page 12 to 15, answers are on the bottom. Okay, page 12 to 15, 12 to 15, 12 to 15. Okay, page 12 to 15.